Paintball nerd.
Today's guest on Paintball Nerd started playing paintball in 2001. He started competing in 2004. And in 2011, he co-founded Uprising. In 2013, he started Findlay Hats. And in 2023, he became the owner of Pro Team Seattle Uprising. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Jimmy Hickey.
Hey there, Z. Thank you for having me, and shout out to the paintball nerd world.
Yes, hello, nerds. Thank you for joining us and watching us talk about paintball, nerding out.
Yeah, it's a good invention.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, you started playing back in 2001. You have a long history with Uprising. You co-founded the team. Let's start there in 2011. How'd you become co-founder?
So the Naughty Dogs, if you remember them, shout out to the original, one of the original Pacific Northwest professional paintball teams. They went under, and they were no longer a team, and that left a little hole in the lineup in the NPPL. And luckily, through our connections, through playing the British Columbia Paintball League or British Columbia Professional Paintball League, I don't know, we knew one of the owners of the NPPL. And back then, I feel like they had a lot of different owners. It was, a dime a dozen. But luckily, through our connections, we were able to kind of put together a competitive roster, and we were able to say, hey, we want to take over that Naughty Dog Pro spot. And back then, at least the way things were handled, it was there wasn't any major roadblocks on that. We had to show that we had a competitive roster, and luckily through our connections through the years into the sport, we had enough, ex-pro guys and high divisional guys that we were able to, put together a good enough roster to play pro and PPL. And actually, it's crazy. So our first year back in 2011, we actually ended up with 2 podiums. So yeah, we started off pretty strong, and yeah.
Did you guys maintain anyone from the Naughty Dogs roster?
No, not at all.
Just clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Yeah. No, I guess, sorry, take that back. We actually, I'm wrong. We had Blake Barham, nasty Dorito player, young gun who grew up through the ranks through me too. He used to play on the Naughty Dog Junior, and then their young guns team, and then he ended up playing on their pro team. He's got a big, I'm pretty sure, Naughty Dog tattoo, and Blake is awesome. So yeah, we actually did retain him. I forget exactly if he was playing with them at the time when they folded, but yeah, he was a Naughty Dog player.
So fast forward here about 12 years. Now you're the owner of Seattle Uprising. And I always ask team owners, why do you do it?
Z, that's a good question. I'm asking myself that still. I don't know if you saw, did you see, we made a video like a month or two back where I kind of was, had a rebuttal to one of the things Maddie Marshall had to say on the Spica and Span show.
Okay. Well, wait, let's just for the audience here. What did Maddie say?
So Maddie said something along the lines of, I can almost quote it. He's like, if you're a pro paintball team owner, or if you're a pro paintball player, you either are basically, how did he word it? If you're a pro paintball player, you're either like a poster boy for some company, or you're just another like alternative expense instead of someone buying a exotic car or a yacht or something. Those are the two, like that's what funds pro paintball. That's like more or less, that's what he was saying.
I can see why he might say that. Sure.
Yeah. And so my response was, it's like, no, like that's not me. Like I do run a company that's been around for 10 years, and we have a great, customer base, and we have a very loyal following and cool product and a bunch of positive things to say about it. But it's like, I'm not some just like random rich dude who's just like has money to blow on a pro paintball team. I'm definitely like the least qualified person in the pro ownership ranks that I'm aware of to be running this team as far as, financial stability and comfort. Like I survive off of very little. I do not pay myself that much to get by, put the money back into the company. Put the money back into the team here to try to build something great, so it's expensive to run a company that has morals and tries to take care of their people and do stuff in house and all that. So so it's not just like a side project for me. And it's not something that, I just have excess funds. It's like, oh, do I want to buy the 68-foot yacht, or do I want to fund Uprising for another year? It's not It's not that. It really comes down to my love for the guys on this team. And the majority of Uprising's been together for so long now. We grew up playing against each other in Young Guns. Like the core of these guys have been together for, I think we did a stat on it. It was like 17 years or something like that for like the core DBS kids of this team. So, I mean, I've known these guys for so long, and I wanted basically Uprising came to a crossroads where the previous owner, Tommy Tucker, one of my closest friends, and was the previous owner and owner of PB Rack, was kind of taking a step back. And with him stepping back, it was either feed the team to the vultures or have me step up and try to kind of fill that gap and help the team survive and stay alive and still be this incarnation of this kind of anti-establishment, unique Northwest team that is different from everyone else out there. So I've been trying to get us back to those roots. But no, I'm a team owner because I love the team. I love what this team stands for. I know we have a lot of potential, and I didn't want to see it die, and if we would have sold to one of the random endless amount of people that approach us every year to buy the team, which is a surprising weird thing that every year there's a rumor that we're about to sell, this incarnation of this team would be done. And we haven't reached our full potential, and I want to do everything I can to help us reach that full potential.
Well, I mean, I'd certainly say, based off what you shared with me, as a team owner, you are somewhat of an anomaly compared to the, other team owners, like the type of person that is, right? So I would imagine, Jimmy, that you have a different philosophy when it comes to running your team that most team owners do, because I think that Maddie's kind of correct on that, where it's like, these wealthy guys just like, instead of the Ferrari 360, they decided to buy a paintball team. So what is your philosophy with Uprising?
Oh man. So the original Uprising, before it was the pro team, was called Uprising Nation. And any of the older paintball players out there that were around in like the mid 2000s, Z, I don't know if you remember, but the Uprising Nation videos posted on PB Nation made by Blacklist Media, those are some of the most popular paintball movies on the internet at the time. Like they definitely had a very strong presence on PB Nation. You would see people with their avatars from different like Uprising players, and it was a very like iconic kind of underground team. And what the whole kind of point of the original Uprising Nation was, they were a group of some of the best players from the Pacific Northwest that quit their teams that had difficult to work with coaches, or unrealistic sponsorship expectations, or dealing with too much of the politics and dealing with sister teams that wanted too much, or just all the garbage that, you talk about is like the biggest problems with our sport, all the politics, all of that stuff. And it was, we just want to play to have fun with our friends. And we don't want to deal with all that garbage noise. And that's what the original Uprising Nation was. They would show up at the field with these awesome, like spray painted t-shirts that had like the Uprising logo on it and the fist and all that. And they would just give them out. And I remember it was just a kid, and getting one of those shirts was like one of my most prized possessions. And I remember looking up to those guys and idolizing those guys. And, so that really like hit home with me. And when it came time for the original, that Uprising team kind of slowly fizzled out, and they lost, talent to different teams, and, kind of went away. When we were looking for a name for the pro spot that we were now able to get, the only logical choice seemed to be Uprising. Yeah. And luckily, with the blessing of the original founder of the actual Uprising Nation, Phil Veach, gave us the okay, and we were able to use that name. But if we're going to use that name, we have to pay tribute to the original, like
the culture.
Exactly. The original culture. They had a really strong mission statement that, unfortunately, it was like, it was 2000s. It was a little, before the PC stuff, maybe a little bit not up to 2024 standards. I don't have it's somewhere out there, but basically it was a very strong thing that like, we're not gonna give into the politics of the sport. We're going to play with our friends and do what we want to do, and do it our way. And so with that in mind, that's kind of one of the guiding principles of who we are and what we're trying to be. That's why, when I took over the team, we ended up dropping a lot of our sponsors. not because we had anything wrong with them or there's any issues. It was just, we want to be as self-funded as we can. So we're not having to play the game of all these different people asking for all these little different pieces of us. We don't want to be a walking billboard for, 10 different companies. We don't want to be plastered in all these little logos and all that. If you look at our jerseys, we have no logos, no nothing, just Uprising name, NXL logo required, and the numbers, which this year, I don't know if you noticed, but we got the big bright numbers, easy to see. Last year we had some complaints on that, but
well, I remember when one of the first messages I ever sent you, I think it was a year or two ago, was commenting on how much I appreciated the black cotton pullovers, because that's what I started playing in.
Yep.
Those were jerseys back when I started. We didn't have the new cool materials and stuff like that were just coming out, So I always thought black, any just cotton pullover is tough. It just looks hard,
100%.
So,
and then throwing that embroidery on there, like 4 hours of embroidery time. It's beautiful. So
yeah, just
yeah, I'm glad you're a man of culture.
Yes, I'm cultured somewhat. But Jimmy, I imagine that, and I don't want to assume, but I imagine not having a sponsor for this, that, and the other thing, although it creates some freedoms for you, may also create some challenges or boundaries.
Yeah, to a degree. The thing is, it's like everyone on the team's been playing for years. Excuse me. We all have gear. We're not going to get excited about someone sending us a new regulator, sending us,
yeah,
like that's not, it's like cool. We got a whole new kit of stuff that we already have 5 of right now. So it's definitely like we feel it to an extent. And like,
sure.
there's certain, things like pads or pants that you go through pretty often. So there's definitely hurdles. And right now we're not like anti-sponsor. We're just anti like an abundance of sponsors. We have nothing to prove, like getting picked up by a bunch of random companies and using this company's gloves and this company's regulator, this company's tank, this company's hopper, all this stuff, and having all these little, stickers of logos all over us isn't going to do anything. We've been playing long enough. We've been a pro team for over a decade now, if you count across NXL and NPPL. Like, we don't need outside validation to prove who we are. I understand with newer teams and divisional teams, it's, kind of a, I'm on the other end of it. We sponsor a bunch of teams. So Findlay does. So I understand, people want to represent brands. They want to show validation that they're affiliated with a cool company. And, I totally understand that. Just Uprising's not at that stage and isn't that team that needs that outside validation. What we need to do is, do well on the field and let the playing speak for itself, not our sponsors, not our affiliations, none of that stuff. So that's, by doing that, it allows us to have a little bit more focus on that side of things, while also, focusing a little bit heavier attention on the sponsors that are actually providing heavy value. If you look at what Findlay puts into the team, it's 95% of the year's budget, so it's like, I don't like sharing the spotlight with a company that's bringing in 1%, 2%,
sure.
Like it's, so yeah, doing as much self-funding as we can, either through Findlay or through Uprising related merchandise, like through our jersey sales and limited edition event stuff, is kind of an empowering piece of the puzzle. And we are sponsored by DLX, and we love the new idols, and they've been awesome to work with. They've been so chill. Shout out to Sam. He's a gentleman.
And a scholar.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like Uprising needs to level up?
So I think we're on the right track. And unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, but I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. And my strength is not in my paintball IQ. And I've never pretended to be a smart paintball player. At a Sacramento Damage tryouts, my playing style was described by Dave Baines as all gas, no brakes.
I like that.
Yeah. When I played pro, I played front center and would just love going right to the center 50, holding it down and getting a couple kills. But so I don't have the paintball IQ to lead this team to the championships. I don't have the skill set to really get us to the next level, but I know the people who do, and I want to make sure they're in the right position to do that. And luckily, with our new coaching pickups this year, with the addition of our coach we've had for years and one of the other original founders, Aaron Amrad. I think we have the perfect combination to really elevate the team. So getting the right people in the position to help has been a big piece of it. And it's just a work in progress though. So this whole off season, we were developing a new training schedule and practice regimen and drills, like some amazing, innovative drills that I've never seen before that were so fascinating to watch the gears turn and watch the guys kind of develop these new things. And, but it just takes time. And I think while the first event of the season was more of the same, we went 1-3. There was still glimmers of better things. And it's just going to be putting all those little pieces together to really, get us where we need to go. And it's, it's still a journey. It's going to take time, but there's glimmers of hope in there. Yeah.
When you talk about the glimmers, like, are you someone that kind of has like your finger like on the button, like, okay, if we don't perform in X amount of years, I'm pulling the plug? Or is Uprising just kind of like your baby and it's like, these are my boys and we're going to just rock it until the wheels fall off?
Rock it until the wheels fall off. Absolutely. I mean, there's an extent of if there were some major issues with how the league were to run things, or if there was, like if it becomes pointless, if there's like, for sure, like, okay, there's this glaring issue that no one's solving. Why are we wasting our money on this? That would be a pull the plug. But, if you ask anyone on the team, at least our core guys that have been around for years, everyone is there to play with their friends and to win with their friends. Mm-hmm. They've been offered to play with other teams. We've had people turn down offers to go to positions where they'd be paid to play rather than still, our guys are still paying to fly to these events. Like we cover as much as we can, but like airfare is still something that our team's paying out of pocket, and so, they would prefer to deal with the kind of hand that Uprising has right now to play with their friends, play this style of ball, and, be loyal to this group of people. And if they're willing to do that, I'm willing to, keep putting the funds together to, do everything we can to keep the wheels on this thing. So, I'm not like, guys, if we don't finish top 10 this year, you're done, I'm in it with the guys, for the foreseeable future. Yeah, that said, we have goals. We want to improve. We're not content with where we're at all. No one's happy with underperforming. It's a reality that we've had to battle and have, been dealing with for pretty much the entire existence of this version of Uprising in NXL. It's been an ongoing battle to, even perform okay, let alone good or great. So it's a challenge. It is not easy to show up and not perform your best.
Why do you think it's so hard?
Man, paintball's tough, and it always just comes back to that pretty simple statement in my mind. It's a tough sport, and I think at this stage, all the professional players and teams are pretty much at that 95th percentile. And the difference between that 96 and 97, 98, 99 is huge. And yeah, I think the people in that really top tier, that little gap is still just tough. There's teams that we've been playing now for a decade that we've never actually won a match against, like a full match against. It's crazy that's a thing.
Like who?
X Factor, I want to say. Probably Dynasty. I don't know about that one for sure, but I want to say Dynasty. There's definitely one or two other ones in that mix too. Don't quote me on it. Lucas on our team would probably be the perfect person for that. He has a good memory in that realm. I'm recovering off of a cold, so yeah,
the memory's not all there.
Well, my memory's never really all there. I'm usually firing with about, half a brain. So I'm at about a quarter today, maybe. So, but the top teams and the sport as a whole is like, it's elevated so far. I mean, when we first started playing pro, like there was half the league was not really up to pro level because it was split across 2 leagues, right? We had PSP and NPPL, and both had kind of filler teams, and that's not the case now. There are so many good pro teams and good semi-pro teams. So, it's just tough. And I think the difficulty between that last little bit is still, there's a lot to do from it. And we kind of saw that with Paintball Fit in Vegas. It shows that there's still, a gap from.
Certainly.
So, but I don't know. I think that's one thing that, we notice in the message boards, we notice it on any chats. It's like when anyone's dogging on a pro team for not doing well, it's like, I don't think there's any team out there that deserves disrespect.
No.
Like respect is earned for sure. And I get that, but disrespecting any pro team to say they're trash or don't belong in there or don't anything like that. Like, I think there's no room for that in the sport. The teams that are playing pro right now that at least earn the spot, like, deserve to be there. And it's a competitive field right now, as strong as it's ever been.
Yeah. When you look at the top performers, like Dynasty is a great example, because yes, they win a lot, but if you actually like analyze and look at the margin in which they squeak out some wins that take them to Sunday or take them to the finals, it's like we're talking about seconds left, and these miracle things happen and they pull it out. So it's like, not only do you have to be really good to make it to Sunday, there's evidence of an element of magic that happens, that you have to have too. So it's very difficult to make it to Sunday. It's even more difficult to win,
Totally.
Yeah. But if you're competing, like if you're, throwing blows against Dynasty, you're at least in the right spot, that you've earned that spot. So I agree with you. Can we talk about Findlay Hats?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's not a paintball company necessarily, but it's your company.
Yeah,
and I like it.
Hey, we're a good times. We're a good times company. We say we make hats built for good times, whatever those may be. So, yeah, might not have the high paintball IQ, but I got the high hat IQ. That's for sure.
So, how'd you get into making hats in 2013?
So, it actually goes back to the early 2005-ish or so. Have you ever been out to the Pacific Northwest?
I have.
Nice. Did you ever see Mount St. Helens? That's the mountain that's like chopped in half. It's like missing the whole.
I don't know if I've actually seen it. I remember when it erupted and there was ash in San Diego.
Yeah.
That was when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah. So that thing. Yeah. There's a really popular local rafting area at the foothills of that. And it's really cool because when you go rafting, you'll see like completely submerged logging trucks and like foundations of houses. And it's crazy. And like the beaches, they're all sandy beaches, but it's not sand. It's actually ash. So it's like this really kind of surreal, soft, silty stuff.
Is it black?
It's like a dark gray.
It looks like ash.
Totally. People sell it too. There's you can buy little containers of the ash, but it's, acres of it everywhere. Yeah. Anyways, I was in middle school and I had this really embarrassing haircut that my friend gave me. That was basically like a fryer, think like a donut basically on top of my head with nothing in the middle, hair shaved on the side. And of course I was, this is like backwoods Washington.
Wait, why did you get this haircut? Lost a bet?
No, I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea. I never really thought about it. I don't remember. I wanted a fun haircut. And so I got it. And yeah, in the backwoods of Washington, being that different might be frowned upon.
Sure.
So I wore a hat. And I had this really beautiful Burton quilted hat. It was a khaki hat with spray paint, and I loved it. And we're rafting down the river, and there's this area called the Hollywood Gorge, where it's kind of like a rite of passage if you survive it. People die there all the time. Not exaggerating. It's like a yearly thing. Basically, you go too far right, you flip. If you go too far left, you're good, but then you need to immediately go right so you don't go off a little waterfall. Uh, it's like a small waterfall, like probably like 6 feet, but like would still mess you up. Like isn't fun. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're rafting. We went too far right. We flipped the raft. Didn't get stuck in the underwater whirlpool. I think called like a Malay or something. But my little went there, then went off the waterfall, got all cut up, bruised up, not fun, and I lost my hat. So I had to wear the rest of the time rafting without my hat in backwoods Washington, getting made fun of, and people saying like not the nicest things about my haircut, and they didn't get it. It was like meta, it was cool, but they didn't get it. Hillbillies, But next time I went rafting, I didn't want to lose my favorite hat. So I took my shoelaces out of my shoe and I cut 2 little holes with a little pocket knife on each side of the hat. And then put the laces through the hole and laced it up on my chin and laced up when I went rafting. And luckily my hat stayed on my head the whole time. Didn't lose it while rafting. And basically every time I went out on the water, I'd wear that hat and people were always like, man, that hat's so cool. Where'd you get it? It's like, I made it myself. And they say, well, cool. If you made more, I'll buy one. Or if you make more, I'll buy one. And then fast forward like half a decade later plus.
Tons of work.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where the original one came from. Rafting down the mighty Toutle River as a middle schooler. And then it kind of grew from there.
Well, kind of grew. Like, how did it grow? How did you turn it into this huge company that funds Uprising? Like, how does that happen?
10 plus years of hyper focusing on trying to get it to happen. So we're no overnight success. There's no magic silver bullet. This is just hyper focusing on building this company one day at a time for a decade plus now. So, at the earliest stages, one of our most pivotal components for our growth was just doing a lot of heavy outreach and trying to be not just like a company, but we would always say we're your friends at Findlay Hats. So we would actively go out of our way to start conversations with potential customers or potential people that could join our community, and just did a lot of one-on-one things like that can't scale. You can't hire. I mean, I guess now you could probably use like ChatGPT or something to do a bunch of outreach, but just a lot of individual one-on-one positive interactions and looking at each person who gives us a shot as someone that's not just here to buy one hat, but to buy hats from us for the rest of their lives. So, we really looked at a big picture community building thing versus a short term buy a hat from us and forget about us.
How'd you come up with the name Findlay? Who's Findlay?
So my grandpa, Harold Findlay, he passed away right before the company launched, and we were looking for some names, and we honestly had no good ones. One of the top contenders was Action Hat, which I know sounds bad, but that's the world we were living in. We did not have that many good options. And luckily, I don't know, my photo company, we didn't really dove into this, but I shot professionally commercial, portrait, and sport photos from like 2007 onward. My photo company is my first name, last name. My middle name was kind of left out. My grandpa didn't have any sons or any men on that side of the family, so the name Findlay's my middle name as well. So it would kind of die with me. So we thought it'd be a cool way to kind of pay tribute and keep the family name alive.
Dude, I love that. Is Findlay Hats, like, I noticed all of them have that little rope that goes across. What else is a trademark of a Findlay hat?
Yeah, so that little rope we call our patented stampede lace. So
That's
you can tie. Hat. Yeah, this is actually a bad example. This is a custom. We took we did this for a sneaker event. Let's see, not using Nike. Of course, all the ones I have here are like weird samples.
Well, show the Nike hat. I was just
so anyways, the lace is actually designed to keep your hat on your head for a good time, so you can bring it down like that, so you don't have to lose your hat when you're out there up on the mountain or out on the water, anything like that.
Oh,
yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. When I was out on the water, didn't lose my hat.
So I thought it was just like you had it like that, and then it became an aesthetic thing, but it's still highly functional, obviously.
Yep, exactly. And then they also have the hidden stash pocket inside.
Put your
great for some. Whatever fits in there, we're not going to tell you how to live your life. Good for some
good times.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so yeah, it's got the hidden pocket and then also a lifetime warranty. So if anything happens to the hat, we'll fix it or replace it for free. And one of our most popular videos actually features our warranty replacements where we'll fix or replace hats for free.
So what can go wrong with a hat? I mean, so I'm sure you noticed the hat that I'm wearing. The reason I choose this hat is because my hats get dirty because of what I do.
Makes sense.
And I like to be able to clean them. And these hats, I found that you can wash them and they don't deteriorate. So that's why I choose these hats. But when I think about like warranty work for a hat, like what happens? Like what if it gets dirty? Do you replace that?
So we don't we didn't build a hat that's like dirt proof or anything like that. It's like a normal acrylic material. That said, we do have like a guide on how to wash the hats and how to, handle them. But the main part of the warranty was actually because we have all these kind of different features that are not standard on other hats. We didn't want someone to not buy a hat from us and be worried that one of these weird new features is going to break. So like the grommet could pull through or the pocket could pull out, things like that. So that's why we offered it originally. But what we found, a lot of people, with hundreds of thousands of customers now, we see it all the time, but a lot of dogs eat hats. That's like the most common thing we see weekly. Like at least one or two a week, we get a replacement from a dog eating it. So that's the most common thing we see. And then lots of little things that are easy fixes. But yeah, that's covered. And, we replace, we sell, thousands a month and we replace like tens a month. So it's not, it's definitely affordable at the scale we're at. But yeah.
Is that marketed like Findlay Hats dog friendly?
Not dog friendly, but we've done like, we've had some clever ones around that, but definitely one of our main features.
Dude, it's cool that I thought the rope was purely aesthetic, and to find out that it's to keep your hat on your head makes it way cooler. How the idea came to you.
And what's nice is it's still very aesthetic. Like you can still, you can put any lace color on it. You can tie it in different styles. The clip in the middle, let's see, there we go. The clip in the middle, there's a bunch of different designs and colors for those. Like there's a lot of little customization you can do with this hat to give it a different look that you just can't do with pretty much any other hat out there.
Yeah. I'm going to buy a hat right after this.
You got hats for life. We got you, Z. Don't worry about
it. Thank you.
You do enough for the sport. We don't need your money.
Well, I definitely need a Findlay hat now. So, and maybe a paintball nerd Findlay hat.
100% a paintball nerd hat. The anyone on YouTube, get some likes in the video, to help with that reach, and then show some love for them. Yeah, hats got to happen.
Yep, dude. I don't know if people know what I look like without a hat.
Same, except for those hillbillies back in the early 20s with my weird halo cut. Scarred me. Those guys were mean. They were mean.
People can be mean to each other.
Yeah. Planet Earth. Fun spot.
Yeah. So you got a lot of memories, I'm sure. It's one of the reasons that we're in this game, right? It's just like
100%
the memories. So what do you got for me? Give me a couple memories or stories that stand out.
Okay, first one that comes to mind was winning the Paintball Asia League Series, PALS, in the Philippines. We were Team USA by PB Rack, and that was actually kind of the last event before Uprising was founded.
What year was this?
2010, I think, or 11.
I was playing that event
in the Philippines. With Goddess and SBK and.
Yeah, I was playing with Actioneers or something. Die team. And I remember your team. You had a couple Americans on it and a new kid that never played paintball before. Is that right?
Wow. Z, yes.
I have to share something here. And I've never So I've got to find this kid, right? The kid that you guys were sending up to the middle to get his head blown off every time. I treated that kid like he was an experienced pro player. And the way I approached it was I'm going to make him not want to go to the center. So I'd meet him in the middle every time. I'm sure you remember. And I'd blow this kid's head off. And then after the event, like in the finals, I find out this is that kid's first time playing paintball. And I'm like, I'm
Yep.
sitting. I'm not playing anymore. And I felt awful because I was blowing this kid up.
Yeah,
you remember
you've
this?
ruined that trip for him. He was so sad about that. No, I don't.
That's what I was afraid of.
No, man, I'm so glad this. Yes, you get to share that memory because that was the coolest little feature of it. Yes. So he wasn't supposed to play with us. He came on that trip to the Philippines to just have fun and go to the Philippines with his friends. And our fifth player backed out at the last second. So we had, so we're playing, I think it was like D1 or whatever the top, division there was at the time, open or whatever. Literally his first time ever playing ball, we had him go it's right up to the center X and just lock down one side of the field. And he was actually really ineffective with it because towards the end we ended up, probably because of you, we switched him up to going to the corner. And he would just run into the corner and hunker down and kind of blind fire a little. But I remember hearing from someone that they thought we were just trolling everyone with him and that he was so good that he just wasn't even trying and didn't care. But nope, he just legitimately was a brand new player playing against some of the best teams in Asia.
So he didn't have a bad experience.
No, he had a blast. I probably had a bad experience because I left a day before everyone else. And everyone else went and had fun with, I forget the guy's name, but they had like a private water park to themselves and had like this amazing 5-star crazy experience. And I just missed it all. So yeah, no, we also, as a team, we kind of had a bad experience because even though we won, we were supposed to win like 10 or 15 grand cash. And I think we only got like 2 DM10s.
Yeah.
And then like some shaving cream.
Yeah. The nice shaving cream though, with the aloe in it.
Probably. I think we probably like threw it on the roof at the place we were staying or something. I remember we were pretty bummed, but it was really fun event.
That because I'm not kidding, Jimmy. Like for years, like I thought about it after. I actually sat myself when we made the finals. I'm like, I'm not playing, dude. I feel like shit. I feel awful. I probably ruined this kid. Like I ruined paintball for him. And I overthink a lot, so I did a lot of that. But I'm glad that now you make me feel better. I feel like I can finally move on.
Well, see, I don't know. You might need to stay back there because he never actually got back into the sport after that. So that could have been his. He's a great athlete. He's was a professional snowboarder, like really good, like peak physique. Like he could have been the next snake god, but he had.
Snowboarding's more lucrative, so maybe I did him a favor.
Yeah, now he's actually I'll connect with you after this, but he's actually doing great. He's he's in a real good spot. I don't think I think you can let that one go. Also, I don't remember him having any hard feelings about any of that either. He had a pretty good, we were more bummed about not getting the prize, which would have covered the whole event. So but you're good. All is forgiven. But I'll confirm with him that all is forgiven.
Please do, because it gave me a complex. And every time I'm playing paintball and I end up finding out that I shot someone who's new, I got to, go up to him and give him free stuff. And I feel awful because of that.
That's just so perfect how this ties in. We didn't talk about this beforehand either. All the viewers out there, this is some good synchronicity and stories aligning. Wow.
I talked to someone else about that event. Who else was with you at that event?
So Aaron Amrod, the head coach of Uprising, Tommy Tucker, owner of PB Rack, and then his brother, Ryan Tucker.
I want to say, and I talked to so many people, I forget, but I thought Joe Barrett was involved or he was there in some way, shape, or
if
form.
He wasn't directly affiliated with us. I know some of the guys like Dottis was there.
Dottis. Isn't Dottis a teen? I thought
from Iran.
Yeah.
They were an amazing. Those guys were so good. It was awesome to see. I remember they had one guy that was just like, the strategy against him was like, just don't look at him and then shoot everyone else on his team and then go for him.
Leave him last. Yeah.
That was it. Every time I engaged, it was just like shot first time. It was lesson learned. He's better. Avoid.
Do you have any other any other stories that you want to share?
Yeah. The probably Huntington Beach.
What year?
Before Uprising, I think, or maybe the first year of Uprising. So 2010, 2011 ish. We had
Okay.
the PB rack booths used to be amazing. They had like a double decker one at World Cup one year. We had a slip and slide. We had kegs, but yeah, we had the slip and slide on the beach, which sounds fun in theory, but
Sandy.
yeah. Yeah, again, talk about earlier, like brain not really work at full capacity, brain no work. We had like a bunch of like, I think it was like some type of lubrication.
Naturally.
And yeah, and it just did not work at all with the sand and just got completely cut up. It looked just like it was nasty, but it was a lot of fun. Had a parrot man thong. We used to get really wild at those events.
Dude, events back then were just a different feeling.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. I remember at a World Cup, we had the keg in our booth and yeah, getting a little crazy. And I remember just like kind of like being passed out using like something funny I think I was using like a Gorilla Air tank as a pillow. And then Dan Colby came by, who just has, the biggest, best personality. And I remember he was like, "You guys are doing it right. You guys," like, it was just like getting his blessing, it was just like, I remember just like, nice. Yeah. Dan Colby approved. I love that guy.
I remember there being more vendors too, like little tiny, like I remember World Cup had this huge tent that was like a compound that had a bunch of tiny vendors. And there's the big vendors too that had the semi trucks like Die. But I don't see that anymore. I don't see the like little startup guys anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
wish
it's
I
kind
did.
of cost prohibitive, unfortunately. Like, we're
Yeah.
like a medium-sized business, and it's still like all things considered an expensive thing for us to attend, even if the entrance isn't that high, because it's reasonable. It's not like it's an unreasonable price, but once you factor in all the other expenses to get your team there, to get the gear there, to get everything set up, to rent the tent, to do all the certifications and all that, it adds up quick. So I think there is a pretty high barrier of entry for the smaller brands to do it. I think it's interesting that Bunker Fest has the no fee for that. I think maybe WCPPL does too. Not 100% sure on that one, but I think it's cool that they see the vendors providing value by being there, let alone charging the vendors, trying to get them to pay or anything. So
how many employees do you have at Findlay?
like 18.
Oh man, that's pretty big. It's not just
Yeah.
like mom and pop. Like you got personalities to manage there.
Oh yeah, it's a battle. It's we one thing that's cool though, over the years we've really learned kind of who works best in this environment, and kind of how to deal with people that might not necessarily be an asset to the team, or might cause more problems than not. So we've gone through the ringer with people over the years, but man, we have the strongest, best team we've ever had. It's awesome. We have a lot of like people that have been here for a long time too, and everyone here just kicks ass. I love this team.
How about on your paintball team? Anyone that is your favorite? You want to play favorites?
No, I don't really have a favorite, but I have a nemesis on the team.
Ooh,
Just as far
that's
as
better.
like, yeah, my from when I played Cole Scott, our friendly Canadian. He played on the original Uprising and NPPL, then went to Edmonton Impact, or went back to Impact, and then kind of got out of the sport for a while, and then got back in last year. And I kind of went to bat for him to get him some looks, and luckily he's still kicks ass and is back on the squad. But when I played with Uprising, we played against him, especially in the BCPPL. That guy just always had my number, and I actually got a scar. Let's see it back there. I don't know, but I have a circle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from him. It looks like a cigarette burn, but nope, it's Cole Scott bunkering me. And there's a nice picture of it where I'm like have my hand up like this, and he's just right in the back of the neck. So I've had to explain that welt many times. So Cole Scott's my nemesis on the team. And as far as favorites, I love all these dudes. No one would be on this team if I didn't, love them. So yeah.
Well,
Good
how about
guys.
outside of the team? Do you have a you have a favorite outside your team, like who you think is just dope?
Yeah. I mean, as far as a team, like, I'm a lifelong fan of San Diego Dynasty. Who isn't? I'll always be rooting for them. And then, both Alex and Oliver have been awesome too. We've done a couple collaborations with Hormesis. And they've been just really, especially Alex has been my main point of contact. And I've always been inspired by both of them. But being able to actually work with them on a kind of a one-to-one level on some projects has been really cool. And yeah, just grateful for that. It's weird. Like, on the Findlay side of business, like we deal with, random big names here and there from different industries. And, we've partnered with some pretty like noteworthy, like celebrity level people, but, I can handle a call from Jamie Lee Curtis, no problem. I can handle, dealing with some big names in skateboarding and all this stuff that are like kind of big to other scenes. But for whatever reason, it's always, like I still feel like a little kid around those guys. So there's still like that little, appreciation for those guys, just because it's inspiring what they've built. It's inspiring how long they've been able to do it. It's inspiring how long things have been, they've been at the top. So, and just, I like what they've created. I like what they've built. And, yeah.
And so the characters of those gentlemen as well, that adds to the lure.
Big personalities and just, good stuff all around. So, yeah, I'd say them. And then non-playing, like old school, Chris Lasoya.
Yeah.
He was my all-time like favorite player to watch. And then my favorite named player is Ziggy Moonbeam.
I never heard of Ziggy Moonbeam.
Miami Effect player, dreadlocks, cool guy. I remember from
Effect.
05 LA Open. Yeah. The Miami Effect guys were so friendly to us. I remember they gave us just a bunch of free Miami Effect gear, and I'm a Miami Effect fan for life.
I wish they should have kept the name. Like Effect is a sweet name for a paintball team. Should come back. Someone bring it back.
Totally. I agree 100%. Also, like the general look was amazing.
Yellow and black.
The yellow and black. And then the sweatshirts playing at like Bob Long's field from Serial Killers. I always loved that look. And good squad. Bring it back.
Yeah. Whoever, I think Chris Lasoya owns the name Effect, actually. So Chris, just bring it back there, buddy.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So you showed me a Nike hat with a Findlay rope on it.
Stampede lace, patented Stampede lace.
It's called a Stampede lace.
Yeah, well, you can call it's Stampede lace. You're up on the mountain. You can call it the avalanche lace. Out on the water, maybe hurricane lace. But yeah, Stampede lace.
What about at the paintball field? What do I call it there?
Ooh, I have to come back to you on that one. I guess for now, just
the bunker bow tie,
splat lace, splat, bunker bow tie, splat combat lace. I don't know.
I saw a dragon back there. You got some stuff on a table. Show me the goods here, Jimmy. What do you got? It does look like a dragon. It's getting something secret. Oh, you've got a selection there. Looks like an Impulse. No, that's an Excalibur, that green one.
All right, I pulled some of my favorites from this lineup. Pulled some of my favorites. Nice little Viking action.
Viking, not an Excalibur. Duh.
Oh, hopefully. I don't know. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's a Viking. I bought it as a Viking. Yeah, VK. Viking. We got Tyler Machad's old San Diego Dynasty Shocker.
Wasn't Tyler coaching you this weekend?
He's our coach. So he's
shit.
Yeah. So I've had this for years. He's like a Northwest legend. So it was kind of and again some cool synchronicity with him coming back to kind of coach a team. And he goes way back with the DBS kids, which is like the core of our team too. So having some history with them has also been huge. And then I didn't mention earlier, but our other new coach is Dusty Court, one of the owners at DBS Paintball. So But yeah, so this little beauty is another one of my like favorites from the lineup. I always loved these SFT shockers. One of my favorite guns to use was I had a pewter strange shocker that shot amazing, gas hog, but shot great. I used that in the XPSL for a while. And then this one is probably one of my favorites in the lineup too. This cut and carved Angel IR3.
Oh yeah, Dynasty won a lot of shit with those.
Right. And I had one of these on my wall for years, like a picture of it, a magazine cutout, so being able to finally like have one, in the office was a big goal.
I think that's the Fly. Is that the Fly IR3?
I think it's just the CNC IR3, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Fly I think that's a slightly different model. I'm in the Angel group, but I don't know. It all bleeds together, but I'm pretty sure the cut and carved CNC and the Fly is, if I'm not mistaken, is is Fly supposed to have? I know this era doesn't have eyes, but I thought Fly was like A4 Fly. Like, the A4 Fly had eyes.
It was like milled down more, I think. I forget. It's been,
I
like LCD Angels. And LED.
Oh yeah, beauties. I like the speeds too. I really want to get an A4 Rasta. One of my friends had one of those growing up, and it was so sick. And then I've always loved the Dragon Intimidator, and I've always loved the Carnivore, so got those in the mix and have a table full of other random ones. But those are some of the top ones.
Anything
I love old paintball ones.
Anything you got rid of that you wish you would have kept?
Maybe my first MacDev, whatever it was, like GT or GTI or something, just because it was my first pro paintball gun, and it was a root beer float colorway that was really rough, but I played my first season professional with it and kind of had some sentimental value there. Actually, I had an Ion that I used for years too that was so beat up and beautiful, and like I took a Dremel to it and just like, remember Ions being so customizable and everyone would have like cool little things to it. This one was I scratched into it. Remember everyone writing hate?
Yeah,
I scratched into it. This is in 2006 probably. Hats. The name of the gun was Hats, and I didn't think I'd ever own a hat company, so subconsciously,
you manifested it.
Yeah, exactly. But in my office here, I actually had them all hanging on my wall when we first moved in, and we had a break-in, and that was one of the they beelined it to my office, and they stole 5 paintball guns, and they didn't know. They took Splatmasters. I think they could see through the window here like what was in, and I think they thought they were real guns. And then once they got in, they realized they were paintball guns and didn't know which ones were the right ones to grab. So, but yeah, I lost one of the sentimental ones that beat up old Ion named Hats.
Jimmy, what advice would you give for someone that wants to be a business owner, a team owner, like general accomplishing shit advice?
Oh man. I mean, I do what I do with Findlay because I love it. I do what I do with Uprising because I love it. So I guess do what you love. And that's pretty like basic, but that's, like obviously there's a lot of steps to be able to do what you love. There's a lot of steps that can be in the way of like, is it even something that you can survive off of? Is it something you can build? Is it something that people want? Luckily, I found a space that, building a company, at the core of building a company, it's creating. And again, I come from a photographic background or photography background. And in my core, I like creating stuff. I love the idea of taking something that was in my brain, this weak little mind, but find little nuggets of something interesting and bring that into reality. Creating something that wasn't there before and bringing it into existence is like a powerful kind of thing. And it's like, I'm like naturally inclined to do that. I wake up every day and that's kind of what I want to work on. And by running a business is kind of like the mass level of creation. It's taking little things like that, bringing it into reality and having a real physical effect on the people who wear the products, the people who help make it, the people that work here, the people that are affiliated, all these little things are, the results of pulling something from an idea and making it a reality. So I thrive on creation, and building the brand and building the company comes from that. I love creating. I found a company that kind of leans into a form of creation that can play to my strengths, and I know to hire for my weaknesses and bring people on that can help with the pieces that I'm not great at. I can do things that have no direction with that. And when we first started, the two of us, my co-founder and I, did everything. And then slowly, as we grew, we were able to bring on more people, and okay, now you do this, and now let's just focus on this. And slowly, over 10 years of literally working on this every day, it's gotten to a point where at least a big piece of my focus is on the big picture, in the clouds, creating stuff for the company, while still trying to stay rooted and work in the dirt with my team and help where I can, and, not just be an absent owner or anything like that, and actually be there for the guys. So to summarize it, do what you love, work really hard at it, be smart about it. The concept of like work smart, not hard. You should work smart and hard. And it's not a chore for me to come in here and work because I love it. Even the stuff I don't enjoy to do, it's just a piece of the building blocks to create. Don't do something that makes you miserable. Life's too short for that. So,
well, I think it's really important to do what you love, as you mentioned, because the challenges associated with doing anything will cause you to quit if you don't actually love it. So love is actually a prerequisite to do the hard work.
Totally.
Like, you won't put in the hard work unless you love it. And if you do, it's going to be limited. It's going to be for a short time. It's going to expire because you hate it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, I love it.
I think Paintball Nerd's a great example of that. Yeah. You love this sport, and you get to pour your heart and soul into capturing your view and your version of it. And, the sport needs people like you to do it, and there's not enough of you out there. Like, it's a very important piece of this, beyond sport, this lifestyle, and being able to really capture these unique stories and capture these funny moments and really show how much more depth there is than just people running around going,
yep,
get him out. Honestly, there's so much more to the sport than that. And, it's people like you that are going out there and really diving into these deep stories and asking and hosting podcasts like this and bringing on personalities and allowing people to kind of share who they are with the world and the sport as a whole. So thank you for doing what you love and making the sport a better place as a result of it.
My pleasure, Jimmy. What are you most thankful for paintball has given you?
Oh man, so I was ready for this question. I did my homework, and it's a boring answer, but it's the friendships, like it's as an adult, you drift away from a lot of people, and paintball's been the one constant that I can show up to any paintball field in the Northwest. I can show up to any national event or regional event or whatever and have friends there and feel like, I'm a part of something. And, it's nice to have that outlet. So just the friendships and the good times along the way.
Awesome. Jimmy, thank you so much for your time here. Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball family?
Oh, Z, thank you so much for having me, and to the paintball family. I hope this year treats you well. You have some good times with the people you love, and here's to a good rest of the year for us all.